Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to the No Disclaimers book tag. Danny from the Chronicles of Danielle was lovely and tagged me to do this, so let's go. If I can find it, I will link the original creators video in the description and I'll link Danny's video in the description as well. Question 1 is, which trope or tropes in books annoys you the most? The trope that annoys me the most is probably the miscommunication trope and the love triangle trope. I feel like both of those were in one of my anticipated releases for this year, and that was Escaping from Houdini. The miscommunication trope could just be solved really easily by the characters talking to each other, so I don't really think that's a very strong way to drive your plot forward. And the love triangle trope is just really frustrating. I want my characters to stick to their guns, and to have a story diluted by a love interest is really not for me. Just for example, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and when the characters in that show get together, they don't lose any characterization that they've built up in the prior seasons. They are just their characters but in a relationship, and I really want that to shine through in YA, and I haven't really found that yet. Question number 2 is, which writer or writers do you feel are overhyped? If you've seen my unhaul video, you know that I got rid of a couple of Sarah J Maas books, and I think that her Throne of Glass and the Court of Thorns and Roses series is really overhyped. I don't really understand why they're so popular. They're kind of like trashy love it or hate it books, and I'm just really not interested in reading them again. Another overhyped YA author and adult author is V.E. Schwab. I love her books and I think her morally grey characters are amazing, but people hype up her books so much and I find that ends up taking away my enjoyment from them because my expectations are like up here and the books are just like here. If I didn't go in with such high expectations because the community of book lovers didn't hype them up so much, I probably would love them a lot more than I actually do. If I really like a book, I won't push it on someone and go, I really need you to read this. I'll just be like, hey, I really enjoyed this book. I think you might like it as well. And that way it takes kind of the pressure off them, because what if they don't end up loving it and you've picked the wrong book for them? Because that's a lot of pressure to put on a person. And if that pressure's on me, then I find that it really hinders my enjoyment. Question number 3 is, what is the least favourite book that you've read since joining BookTube? And I only joined BookTube a few months ago in June, so I don't really have that many for this question. Probably the only 1-star book that I've read this year is The Painted Man by Peter V. Brett. I made a book talk about this book and I really didn't enjoy it, even though my expectations were through the roof. Just because I didn't enjoy The Painted Man, and I went on a spiel about it in my book talk with spoilers, so I'll leave that linked if you want to have a look. This doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to not read that author ever again in my entire life. I'm definitely interested in the way he writes and his concepts, and so I will look at picking up any of his future work because I'm really interested in what he can create. But just the Demon Cycle series just was not for me. Question 4 is, a terrible ending that ruined a quality book. For this one, I'm probably going to have to pick Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. Generally, I'm not really into fairy tale retellings, but I picked up Spinning Silver because I loved her first book so much. Neither of them are related, they're both fantasy standalones. I just found that book was a bit slow and the ending skipped forward, I think, 6 months. And so from the character development from when we left off to when the next chapter started, it didn't have chapter headers, I didn't know who was talking, and it seemed very abrupt. And that ending made me really angry, whereas if I realised when I was reading it that it was a 6-month time gap, I would have been like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So instead of giving that book a 4 or 5 stars, I ended up giving it around a 3 or 3.5, I think, just from memory. Question number 5 is, which fictional characters do you wish were not killed off? Obviously, I'm not going to say which character, but a character in this book got killed off and it absolutely broke my little heart when I was reading it as a kid. If you have read Harry Potter, you will know exactly who I'm talking about, but I obviously will not say in the video because of spoilers. Question number 6 is some of your bookish pet peeves. I don't really have that many pet peeves. I mean, if you want to annotate your book, highlight it, or dog ear the pages, that doesn't really bother me. If I lend you a book, I'm going to expect you to take care of it. Like, I'd rather you not crack the spine, but if you did, then whatever, it doesn't really matter. I don't think I have an example on any of the books behind me, but I really hate when books print stickers on the front cover. And I don't mean the stickers that are really just hard to peel off. I mean the stickers that are printed onto the book. That's like an award or something. Can't you just put that on the back of the book and not ruin the front cover? I don't understand. Question 7 is, what books do you think should have more recognition? I have the perfect book for this question, and it's actually my favourite standalone novel, and it's not a fantasy, which is very surprising. The book is The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein, and I think I've read this more than 8 or 9 times. This has a very unique perspective, and it follows Enzo, the dog on the cover, and he basically chronicles his life growing up from a pup to an old dog as he watches his owner Denny fight a custody battle after his wife's death. And Denny in this book is fighting to keep custody of his 6-year-old daughter. daughter. This is just very surprisingly funny in some parts and very honest, and I just really love the unique perspective that this is written in. This tends to make me reflect, not existentially, but just philosophically on life as a whole, and it's just a really beautiful story. And it's not one of those stories that is like tear your heart out, make you cry, stories that leaves you really sad. It actually has a note of hope at the end, so I highly recommend this. It is a little bit of a sad book, don't get me wrong, but it won't leave you with that gutted feeling. It does leave you with hope. Question number 8 is, what are your thoughts on censorship or banning books? Overall, I kind of feel that books should just include a content warning before the prologue or something, because I feel like in the first couple of pages that means that either a parent or guardian or just randomly someone picking up the book can decide whether it's going to be something that they enjoy or something that is potentially harmful for them to read. But overall, no, I don't think books should be banned at all. And the last question number 9 is, who do you tag? I will link everyone that I tag in the description. I will probably forget somebody when I say their names, but I tag Alex, Bex, Jess, Chelsea, Kaz, and Robbie Reads. Thank you so much for watching this No Disclaimers book tag. Please feel free to chat to me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If I have tagged you, I'd love to see your video, but don't feel pressure to make one. I just thought I'd tag you for the fun of it. Thank you again, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!